welcome. The show is called Property It's Hot, your weekly guide to the best property buys across India's property markets and some smart advice on keeping your home beautiful and safe. Here's a sneak peek into the show today. How to rebuild your life if you've lost your home and belongings in a fire. And a tech check of the latest technology that's helping developers deliver homes faster. Time now for a Go Green segment. The World Green Building Week has just concluded and the city of Chennai has begun gearing up to host this year's Green Building Congress in October. As part of this roundup, Jude Sanith finds out what's in store for the meet this year and what the host city has done in its bid to go green. Take a look.
Green has become part of this city's contemporary architecture. For the greater part of the last decade, the concept of thinking green has permeated into Chennai's real estate. For a city that started India's green building revolution, the next plan of action could lie in extending the concept of greenery beyond mere architecture.
If you take an aerial photography of Madras city, you will find most of the spaces only concrete buildings are appearing. Only in Adyar and Gindi area you will find some trees appearing. A good city design should have minimum 30% open space and greenery.
The 11th Green Building Congress, conducted by CII's Indian Green Building Council, will take place in Chennai this year. And although at 164, the city's green building count has fallen behind bigger markets like Mumbai and NCR, traces of Chennai's impressive green architecture are for all to see. The Grundfos factory on OMR is testimony to this. Built in 2005, the pump manufacturing unit was India's first ever gold certified green building. Its green rating upgraded to platinum this August. Now, one of the greatest indicators of a building's greenness, so to speak, is the amount of electricity that it conserves on a day-to-day basis. And in this respect, the Grundfos office has done a commendable job in harvesting ample sunlight through well-designed sunroofs and thereby cutting down on the amount of electricity consumed by way of LED lighting, at least during the daytime. But it isn't just lighting. Several aspects of a building's design and architecture go a long way in ensuring sustainability and making green buildings better workspaces.
For example, orientation, the way the building is sited is very important. It will determine the extent of solar gain onto the building. The extent of solar shading again determines the amount of heat coming into the building. Then the openings itself, which would determine the wind flow within the building.
For all the patronage that green architecture has enjoyed from commercial real estate, green residential buildings have fallen back with little or no demand. While the Green Building Congress will focus on green living and thereby green homes, some developers believe that residential developments might only be able to adopt green architecture partially.
If I have a commercial building, the money which I spend can be quantified in terms of savings, and most of the savings are like low-hanging fruits. We are able to recover it in about 6 to 8 months' time, and it is a selling proposition for the occupant. But coming to residential, the air conditioning is being used in the night, so having a thermally efficient envelope may not really have a great impact. I can't go in for technology of CO2 sensors, and it's very difficult. So we have just hygiene factors as far as residential is concerned, that do I have enough light coming in, do I have the usage of material which is there.
But what does spell good news for sustainable living on the whole is the increased emphasis on further enhancing green features of existing green buildings.
24 hours the power is going to be consumed. I will recover 1500 rupees per tube light. So in 8 months I would be getting the money out by just replacing all the fluorescent lamps with an LED lamp. Similarly, in air conditioning also we are trying to invest in certain more we have a constant flow chilled water, so we are trying to make that also a variable flow. We are given very clear target, and it is possible.
And like Theodore Roosevelt once said, with self-discipline, most anything is possible, a disciplined, steady campaign to go green could soon be the high point of sustainable real estate in Chennai. With camera person Sukumar, Jude Sanath, NDTV.
Today we're kicking off a brand new series, Insure Your Future, Insure Your Home. Fire, theft or any natural disaster, one can never anticipate when your home could face such a situation. But a householder's policy is that backup plan that can ensure some relief even in the most distressed of situations. Listen in to experts decode how a householder's policy is so crucial for a homeowner. Earthquake, fire, floods, terror strikes. We all think we can never be struck by any of them. But when it does, you are set back by a good 10 years and you have to start your life from scratch. We came across one such story of Miss Aruna Sharma. She and her husband had built themselves a beautiful home in Delhi where they had been living for the last 20 years. But unfortunately, an accidental fire completely destroyed their home. Let's hear out their story.
I don't know how I got up. When I got up, I saw the flames were coming from the split AC, which was just above our heads. We were sleeping below that. And suddenly I started shouting, fire, fire. My husband was looking at the floor and saying, where's the fire? He suddenly got up from his sleep. And I saw, after another flame, I was so terrified. It engulfed the whole room, and from that room, to another room, right, it engulfed the whole house. I wish my husband had listened to me earlier and we could have had a policy. Had we had a policy, I think we could have at least had a cushioning. Now that we don't have anything, we have to fall back upon all our savings will be exhausted. It's the home which makes everything. Home is the heart of all the things on earth. So to protect our home, we must take a policy.
Ms. Aruna Sharma's story should serve as a wake-up call to many of you who do not have a home insurance policy yet. To discuss this further, we are joined by Mr. Subir Bhattacharya, General Manager at National Insurance Company Limited, and Mr. Rahul Agrawal, CEO at Optima Insurance Brokers. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. We all heard Ms. Aruna Sharma's story. Rahul, let's start with you. If she had a home insurance policy, how different would her life been today?
See, today, like Mrs. Sharma said, we invest a lot of money in our homes. Buying a home itself is a lot of investment. And gradually over the years, we keep on investing small amounts and collecting stuff. And when this all gets burnt down, that is when we realize the enormity of the event. I think if there's a home insurance in place, the financial aspect of the loss is taken care of. Emotional aspect, of course, cannot be. But at least, you know, like she said, mentioned that now we have to fall upon our savings. And at this age, if she has to fall upon her savings, God forbid such an event should happen to somebody. So I think, and the best thing in India is home insurance is extremely cheap. It's very, very affordable. And it's just that there's lack of understanding about the product, lack of knowledge of the product. I strongly believe everyone should have a home insurance policy.
Mr. Bhattacharya, why do you feel there's a lack of understanding, awareness about something so crucial? We all saw her story, her case. I mean, in her retirement years, she has to recreate the entire 20 years of her life.
Yeah, I think lack of awareness is something which we as insurers should take the blame. But I am happy that you are having such a program, and I hope it will help to spread awareness. But I do believe that every house owner must have a householder's insurance policy. It's a must. I mean, this sort of things, we always expect that it will happen to the other person and not to me. Please take a householder's insurance policy. Like Rahul said, it's very cheap, and sleep safely.
Rahul, what kind of a policy cover should you go for when you talk about an event, unforeseen event like fire? Is a fire cover enough to cover you?
See, in India, although we call the policy fire policy, but in fact it's a very broad-based umbrella policy. It will cover fire, explosions. So for example, a gas cylinder may explode, the policy can cover that also. And it also covers all kinds of acts of God, which means earthquake, floods. It covers things like riots, strikes. You know, it covers stuff like if there's a jealous neighbor and the neighbor kind of puts your house on fire, or a servant puts your house on fire, the policy will cover that also.
Okay.
So it's a very broad-based umbrella policy,
comprehensive.
very comprehensive policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying natural calamities are covered. What about valuables? You have appliances, your jewelry. How is that covered?
See, jewelry is something you keep at home but also use it outside your home, and it's so valuable you wouldn't like to lose it. So there's a section which covers jewelry and valuables against all risks. So it is covered not only when it's in the house but also outside. The basic cover covers all your contents inside the house, but it's only all this section which covers items when you are carrying it or wearing it outside the house. So that is one section, and there's a section for breakdown of electrical appliances, which also can be very costly. Sometimes it might become unrepairable and you might have to replace it, and that is also quite a heavy cost. You can insure that. So plus there are some other sections, like you have a baggage section. People going frequently on tours can have a fixed coverage for say 25,000-50,000, where his clothing, his laptop, his mobile, his watch, and these things which he carries, if stolen during his trip, is covered. Like it's a very package and comprehensive cover.
Okay. Rahul, 20 years into her life in that house and that unfortunate incident happens, how long should your cover should be? Should it be a fixed term cover? Should you go for a long term period? How do you know which is more suited for your needs?
So the Indian industry today, insurance companies today provide two kind of covers. One is a cover only for your house building, and you can take a long term cover up to 20 years also for your home building only. But if you wish to cover the contents of the building also, then you need to take a complete comprehensive policy. Okay. So the comprehensive policy will be an annual cover, and you have to renew the cover every year.
All right. Okay. So we came across Aruna Sharma's case. If she had a policy, what would her first step would have been? Can you take us through the timeline of what the process would have been if she had a policy?
Yeah, sure. So if she had a policy, she would have intimated the claim to the insurance company. The insurance company, which is a 24-hour thing, the insurance company would have deputed an independent engineer called an insurance surveyor, who would have come and assessed what the loss is. He would have made a report on the basis of the assessment and given the loss assessment to the insurance company. Now this process may take around a month or so, because many times a lot of stuff which goes in, he will ask the owner of the house to make a list of all the equipment, all the stuff which has got destroyed. So we don't keep such lists at home. So like a corporate, we don't have lists of what stuff we own. So it becomes difficult for us to recollect what all we had over there. So that list has to match with the list you give to the insurance company. So it takes some time. But I think by and large, within a month or month and a half, you're able to give the list to the surveyor and the report is finalized. And then the insurance company takes to the process of claim settlement, which again will take around the same time. So I think from the date of loss, you could easily budget 90 days, 120 days for the money to come in.
All right. As we bring this discussion to a close, Mr. Bhattacharya, I want closing comments from you. What would be your message to viewers out there, homeowners? Your last closing comments, how important is a householder's policy?
I think if you really love your house, value your house, the thing which you have built up using your entire lifetime savings, please purchase an insurance policy to protect yourself financially against losing that valuable property, so that you can build it up again.
Rahul, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Mr. Bhattacharya, it's a pleasure speaking to you. There are important lessons to be learned from the case that we discussed today. Tragedies and accidents never come announced. You need to prepare for the worst, and a home insurance policy should be the first weapon in your armor. We'll take a quick break on Property It's Hot. We'll be back with the latest building technology in India that delivers homes faster.